Guys, I want to thank you for being my audience today. Siriana, Daphne, Warren, Audrey, Tyler. Thank you guys.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. So go ahead and sit down and I'm going to give you a little presentation on why I think that cell phones should be allowed in school. So cell phones have always been a vital piece of technology, and I've always been pro technology. And it is so helpful to so many students in school, ranging from grades middle school all the way up until college. So I think cell phones should be allowed in school without any negative consequences. So today I listed a few pros and a con as to why I think cell phones should and shouldn't be allowed in school. For my pros, I listed that cell phones are an educational platform. They can always be used in case of emergency. And for cons, I use that they are a very big distraction. So as far as an educational platform goes, cell phones can be used as a learning aid. Students who have smartphones can use various applications. I remember using Kahoot in elementary school, and it was a game just to get us all involved and interacted in what was going on the board. So we use things like that. And students who don't have access to computers at home, but who do have access to smartphones, can always access online information or get help via the web with any of their schoolwork. So, and I think cell phones are also a big convenience when it comes to school. It shows that students can be much more engaged in performing and paying attention. And a lot of cameras, if not most, have lots of cell phones or cameras. A lot of cell phones have cameras. So as far as taking notes or taking a picture of the work that was done so you can review it or so you can do it later, it's always been super helpful. Cell phones are extremely important for organization. Every mobile device has a calendar, so it's easy to set up your due dates, your test dates, retakes, and everything like that. And it is much more safer and handier to use than a paper planner. So I'm always pro-choice for calendars on cell phones. Another big reason I think cell phones are important is for GPS tracking. Say a child is abducted from school or wandered off without telling anybody, it is super, super convenient and important that that child has their cell phone on them so that they can get a GPS location. A lot of phones have Find My app or Find This Other iPhone, or you can also get it tracked if it goes that far to the police. So it's super important that cell phones have GPSs in them. And another reason is that they can also provide a peace of mind. So some kids who are unfortunate enough to either walk to or bus to school or get a car ride home, kids who have to walk to school, those parents can have a peace of mind from their kids from when they leave the home to when they get to school and vice versa. If they make any stops, it'd be super important that that parent can track and locate their child whenever. Cell phones are also important for instant communication. Although you never have to do this, most of the time some parents will call the school if it's not that urgent. But if it is that urgent, it is important for parents to go ahead and contact their child directly and be able to cut out the middleman and get that information to them as soon as possible. And for kids who are on break, kids who don't have any friends, they can go ahead and go on their phone and just chat with their parents, their friends, their families, someone who's just not around them. So it's also super important for that, just to stay in contact with whomever. Cell phones are super efficient nowadays. If there is an emergency at the school, parents can go ahead and let that child know immediately. And it also increases engagement for motivation and learning. So cell phones are super efficient in that way of getting the child to be able to pay attention and follow directions and be engaged with their one and all. And so although cell phones have a lot of positives, I did list a few downsides to having cell phones in school. And obviously the major one is that it can be a very big distraction. No doubt in my mind that whoever has a cell phone is on it probably 75% of the day, even in class. So yes, they can be a big distraction. They do get easily sidetracked. It was actually a 2010 study at the Pew Research Center that 64% of the students in class texted, and 25% have made a call in class or texted while the teacher is teaching, while the student is talking. So they can be very distracted for the overall class environment. And in that same study, 46% of the students play games, or 23% of the students are on social medias, things like Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, or super famous TikTok nowadays. So things like that really do take away from the learning environment of the child and the teacher. Cheating is a really big thing. Yes, we use our cell phones to get information. Hopefully that information is something used to help further your schoolwork, but cheating also does happen. And so that is a really big downside to being able to have cell phones in school. Obviously, we want our children to take school seriously and to be able to come by their work honest and to do a really good job, make sure they know the material and not just repeating it. So cell phones do aid with false information and cheating for students. And it was actually said that in a Benison strategy group in 2009, 35% of the students in that study cheated on their assignments. And 41% of that group actually admitted to storing notes and information like that on their phones to cheat for tests and quizzes and things like that. Another downside to having cell phones in school is actually cyberbullying. And it hurts that today in society that we still do that, but it still is a live thing. And cyberbullying is things like taking inappropriate pictures, sending mean text messages, spreading rumors. So a lot of that does happen. And there was actually a cyberbullying research in 2016 that showed that 33.8% of the students use their cell phones to cyberbully another student, and 11% of students have been bullied by rumors spread, or by pictures sent, or by things said about them that they just really didn't like. So it's even though after all that information, I am still pro-choice on having cell phones in school, but it's time to hear your opinion. So I want to know what you guys think, and thank you for listening.